trackies, welcome back to another video. Grand Slam dos. All right, I'm crazy. Okay, Grand Slam day 2. So we saw day 1 action, and I believe highlights out of that was clearly the American record from the women's 100-meter hurdles. And yeah, me being attacked in the comments and called a hater because I'm like, okay, guys, ain't nobody in that shape right now. But still, fantastic execution. And that's my biggest takeaway when it comes to Miami. The Miami leg from the Grand Slam Track League is literally the execution that I've been watching from, the athletes. And day 2 highlighted some more of that. And I'm absolutely thrilled to see the improvements from, again, a technical perspective. That being said, the times came with it too. So let's jump straight into my takeaways. For the women's 400-meter hurdles, we had 2 entrants there. We had Anjanette Knight and we had Cheyenne Salmon, both finishing 2nd and 4th in the 400-meter hurdles. One running a season's best 54.08, which was Anjanette Knight, and Cheyenne Salmon running a 54.60. Two also a season's best from her. Now, Sydney McLaughlin Leveroni runs a world lead in 52.07, guys. So she pretty much blows everybody out of the water. No surprise there. And actually, now I'm starting to see why I see a few people online complaining about Sydney competing in the 400-meter hurdles and the 400 for the long hurdles, because she pretty much has no competition there. And even though she's such a phenomenal athlete, it comes off as kind of boring. And I think it's kind of doing a disservice to Sydney McLaughlin Leveroni, considering that she's such a goat in the 400-meter hurdles, to have her competing and it feels like, okay, this is kind of boring because everybody knows how it's going to go, right? So maybe, hopefully in the future we see her competing in something else, right? Maybe go for the long sprints, right? We can see her really go up against Salwa Idnasa, Marlady Paulino, those athletes that really specialize in the 4, right? Not necessarily the best at the 2, but we can see her come down and see what she does there. She's a really strong 400-meter runner as well, so she can really mix it up with these girls. So hopefully we can see her do something else, because honestly it's kind of giving even though it's amazing, as I said, right, it's not giving what you're expecting, the fanfare that you'll be expecting, right? Because again, it's so pretty much clear as day how this competition is going to go. So moving on from the women's 400-meter hurdles, I want to touch on as well, that happened the men's 110-meter hurdles. We had Trey Cunningham go away with an equal personal best, winning time 13.00 seconds, and also we had Sasha Zoya running a PB 13.06 seconds. So really, really strong running. Frederick Crittenden 13.09 season's best. Really, really strong running when it came to the men's 110-meter hurdles. Similar again to the women's 100-meter hurdles. But again, I'm a bit skeptical. I'm not gonna lie when it comes to these performances, these times, and on these tracks. I want to see what these same athletes do in their next outing. I'm not sure if their next outing, is gonna be Grand Slam, because I realize a few of them are only running at Grand Slam, like a Sydney, right? So I can't really say where we will see them next. But I want to see what their progress looks like after this, because if they're running 13 seconds, and like what happened with Masai running an American record, then God forbid what she gonna run in September, right, when we get to the World Championship. So that is literally my view again, and history proves that that track has given performances earlier on in the season that really isn't a true indication of where the athletes are, and we've seen that, as I said, numerous times. So that's my current view, though as I said, the performances were great from a technical perspective as well. Now I really want to dive into where we got into some money. Ackera Nugent. Yeah. So out goes Daniel and in comes Ackera Nugent. So Jamaica walks away with the double short hurdle slam victory. Absolutely fantastic. First it was Daniel Williams in Kingston. Now it's Ackera Nugent. And she did so by equaling her personal best in the women's 100 meters, 11.09 seconds there. Now, also, Masai was, second overall when it came to the performance there. And Megan Tapper ended up third overall. So that's big money going away for our 2 Jamaicans from Grand Slam. So absolutely excited for them. And I'm absolutely excited to see how the season, continues to progress for these athletes. As I said, I'm taking these times with a grain of salt, guys. And it's not just because of Masai Russell. I see a lot of you saying, oh, I'm hating on Masai. No, I'm not hating on Masai, right? I'm taking the performances from Miramar because history has proven that, hey, we maybe should take these performances with a grain of salt, assault, right? So until I see otherwise, that's just my view. But I still think really, really strong executing. Ackera just ate the field up, gobbled up the field in the women's 100 meters. I pretty much knew going in that she would have no competition. I was surprised how well Daniel ran in Kingston to win that 100, because as far as I was concerned, Ackera was going to take that 100 in Kingston, but not so. It was Danielle. So she comes here, that much better than the field when it comes to 100-meter sprinting, which is why she's so good in between the hurdles, which is why I've always said, once she gets it right, Ackera is going to be absolutely deadly in the hurdles. Is that flat speed? Her flat speed is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And again, not necessarily looking at the times, but the gap. The gap in terms of the victory is what tells you how much, how good she really is over that 100 meters versus everybody else, right? So absolutely excited for our athletes in this women's 100-meter hurdles. And of course, Masai, as I said, really strong competition. She was fourth in the 100, and of course, as I said, won the hurdles with an American record 12.17 seconds. Now let's jump over into the men's 100 meters. That's these the short sprints. Right now, it's so funny. I tweeted out, I'm waiting for this 9-7, because from I saw the 10-7 from the girls the day before, and of course, what Masai did, I was like, okay, hands down, these men are gonna run 9-7. I mean, I ask, So we are having some guys that went from 10-0-8 or 10-0-7 to come and run a 9-7. And y'all don't understand why I'm saying take these times with a grain of salt. But outside of the time with Kenny Benerick winning with a 9.79 seconds, it wasn't a personal best. It was a positive 2.4 meters per second wind, right? Outside of that, I still think Kenny Benerick's execution, oh my gosh, he's looking better and better every time I see him from a technical perspective over that 100 meters. Very effortless, I would say. And it's kind of funny because I did a video earlier on when we were talking about, Diamond League and Shanghai, and of course Kishane, and my thoughts as it relates to what he could work on. And I said, at the end of the day, he just needs to relax and execute. And that's literally what we see Kenny doing, relaxing and executing. And I see a few people mentioning in the comments that no, Kishay needs to dip, right? If you're reaching for the line, more than likely you've lost the race. You know what I mean? If you're relaxing and executing, then more than likely you're going to be beating out, your competitors, which is what we saw from Kenny in this particular race, relaxing, executing, and he did the thing there. Whereas, we did see Oblique Seville, he was second in the 100, 9.84. Really towards the line, you saw him starting to reach and, try to dip a Kenny while Kenny was out there, still running through the line kind of thing. So I still want Oblique to work on his final 10 meters. The final 10 meters is very important. Still keep executing, and it's the same thing that I believe for Akishin as well. Still keep executing straight through the line. More than likely, your momentum is going to take you through the line faster than anybody is dipping. That's just my view when it comes to that. And Ackeem Blake was third. He ran a 9.85, so really solid times. But as I said, I'm taking these times with a grain of salt, guys. Let's see what happens in their next outings or their next few outings for sure. But yeah, that's literally what happened. Kenny comes out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was thinking Oblique Seville for sure is gonna take this 100. We saw what happened in Kingston. I thought he blundered, towards the end where he could have won that race. But Kenny comes out in the second Grand Slam and shows that it was no fluke, right? So now I'm looking at that 100-meter field, and I believe somebody, made a comment earlier on and said, "Oh, they're calling Akane for a medal in the 100 for Japan World Championships." And I said, right now it's too early to call. But the only thing I can say for sure is that, do you remember what happened in Paris? The times that the men were clocking 979, 979, 981, 982, 983. Like that's literally how the Paris finals was going. That's probably how we're gonna see, it go for the World Championships in come September. The guys look very, very close right now, and you probably can't really split the difference. Now, clearly, I do believe also that everybody's at different, phases in their season, right? So, I don't believe for 1 second that this is what Oblique Seville has to offer. I'm looking at him; he definitely looks heavy and bulky. So, my view is, he hasn't really started working on anything, sprint work, related as far as I'm concerned. So, from a technical perspective, that's probably what they're working on, strengthening him and him working on his form from that perspective. So let's see what happens as the season progresses. For Oblique Seville, I'm hoping that by the time we get to races, we can see him starting to shed those times, and by times I mean legit times now, right? Shed those times and really start getting into probably a new personal best ish range, so that we can get into trials and have a real throwdown, because right now things are looking very interesting between himself and Kishane. I won't lie, for sure. And of course, Ackeem Blake is looking really, really solid. Love this execution there. They were just beat. They were just beat by the better man. Kenny was the better man on this day. Like, I have nothing to say other than Kenny was the better man. In Kingston, it looked like Oblique Seville could have won. Here, Kenny was just the better man, and that's just what it is. The other guys, as I said, really competed strongly, but yeah, it's just what it is with this men's 100. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We're on to day 3 tomorrow to see, who walks away with the Grand Slam title. From how things are shaping up right now with Kenny, if he's already won the one, probably he's gonna go away with the two unless something happens. And I don't want to put my goat mouth on him anyway. So he's probably gonna win this here. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.